morning. This is Anna Patterson with the North Carolina Housing Coalition. Thank you for joining us this morning for our housing call. And without further ado, I will turn it over to our Executive Director, Samuel Gunter.
Thank you very much, Anna. Welcome, everyone. Spring is definitely sprung. It is gorgeous outside. Everything is blooming. All of the deadlines are coming due right now. And I just finished spending 2 nights sleeping on the ground at Girl Scout Camporee. So let's get going. All right, couple of things that we want to start off with this week. Big items. I'm going to start with organizational announcements. One is we are looking forward to seeing those of you who are registered for the North Carolina Housing Day at the General Assembly. We've got the reception coming up on the 28th and the Day of Advocacy on the 29th. We have a final training for that coming up on the 16th. And apologies to all of you who did not or were not able to register for the reception because we sold out. The response to this has been incredible. I am excited to see so many of you in just a couple of weeks down at the General Assembly talking to our elected officials about housing because we are now officially in the short legislative session. I want to give a big shout out to all of the planning team, all of the folks here at the coalition, the Housing Coalition, at the Coalition and Homelessness, at Habitat for Humanity of North Carolina, and the coalition that tried to put more C's than the rest of us into an acronym, the North Carolina Coalition for Land Trust, or North Carolina Community Land Trust Coalition. So thank you to all of you for putting effort into planning that event coming up. A couple of other things that we want to highlight today. We have a property tax committee meeting at the General Assembly tomorrow morning at 10. We'll talk a little bit more about that. They will be taking amendments and likely voting on the bill that we have been discussing. And then a couple of federal advocacy opportunities from our friends up at the National Low Income Housing Coalition. So, other organizational updates. Again, register now for Bringing It Home in 2026. This year's Bringing It Home Ending Homelessness Conference is May 27th and 28th at the McKimmon Center in Raleigh. This is primarily for homelessness services professionals and allies. We'll gather to learn, network, collaborate with other experts and practitioners from across the state and beyond. You can register now. Check out our page for more information, or you can contact Stephanie Kirby at our organization for any questions. Moving on to federal updates. So, like I said, we have three advocacy opportunities from our friends up at the National Low Income Housing Coalition. Since February, HUD has published several proposed regulatory changes that would have harmful impacts on HUD tenants. Each of these proposals is currently open for public comment. So there's HUD's proposed mixed status rule. This will require families with mixed immigration statuses in certain HUD programs to choose between remaining together or losing their housing assistance entirely. Um, there's also HUD's proposed rule that would allow public housing agencies and HUD-assisted owners to adopt work requirements and time limits on assistance. And then finally, there's HUD's proposal to repeal the requirement that PHAs and project-based rental assistance owners provide households with at least a 30-day termination notice prior to filing an eviction action for non-payment of rent. So those are the three proposals. Again, HUD's mixed status rule, the rule around work requirements and time limits, and the proposed rule around 30-day termination notice. So we have links to all of these and ways for you to reach out to your elected officials directly on these rules, as well as put your comment in on HUD's website around these proposed rules in the rulemaking process. You also have a more detailed article linked in the call notes if you want details on why these are all terrible rule proposals that would have incredibly harmful impacts on folks. So again, three national advocacy opportunities at the moment. A couple of updates on the state side. Short legislative session of the North Carolina General Assembly has officially kicked off. So they are back down there. Things aren't incredibly busy at the moment, but we are back in session. So updates are likely to come a little bit more fast and furious from the state side than than the last couple of months. Again, upcoming legislative committee meetings to take note. The House Select Committee on Involuntary Commitment and Public Safety is convening this morning at 10 o'clock here in 10 minutes. And the House Select Committee on Property Tax Reduction and Reform is convening tomorrow at 10 a.m. And again, the committee is likely going to vote on any amendments or final versions of the proposed legislation around property tax exemptions. Couple of local headlines to point out. Again, you can find these links in our call notes to go looking for a more detailed description of what's going on. But the new Department of Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin visited Western North Carolina. This was his first trip. He was there last week. Um, and he was there to highlight storm relief efforts. You can read a little bit more about his visit. A couple of other articles. County launches affordable housing strategy in the Silva Herald. Developer says Asheville Ramada project still underway. Uh, a place to live, a partnership between two Guilford County-based nonprofits will create housing for people with HIV. Villages of Haytime moving forward, marking a new chapter for the Durham community. There's also an article on and a news broadcast on ABC 11 talking about the city of Durham's new accessory dwelling unit pilot program. I was interviewed for that article along with a couple of other folks here in Durham. Raleigh, weighing affordable housing bond size as advocates push for more. And something from Spectrum on North Carolina tribes getting over $37 million in affordable housing funds. So a couple of affordable housing headlines from around the state for you to check out. Last thing I want to highlight this morning are some reports, some events, and some resources that are worth taking note of. I want to highlight the North Carolina Budget and Tax Center has released their 2026 economic county snapshots for North Carolina. They're interesting snapshots by county, some of the same data that we use as well. Some of those same affordable housing affordability indicators that are in our county profiles, such as fair market rent, renter cost burden, hours of work at minimum wage needed to afford fair market rent. But they also have county level data on educational attainment, income, employment, poverty and health indicators, and so on. So those are worth checking out for the work that you all do. Um, the Public and Affordable Housing Research Corporation has put out an impact report, How Affordable Homes Strengthen People and Communities, 2026 Housing Impact Report. There's a couple of findings from here I think that are worth taking note of. Affordable housing programs support 6.62 million households nationwide, uh, and it breaks it down by older adults and people with disabilities and families with children and so on. Um, but increasingly, these programs are serving more vulnerable populations. So these are households with extremely low incomes, older adults, folks with disabilities, and that most assisted households that can work are working. As of 2024, 86% of non-disabled working age assisted households were working at some point during the last week or year. And I think it's important to take note in this, another finding in this survey is that the median household receiving rental assistance in particular remains assisted for only 4 years, right? So that's the median, only 4 years worth of assistance. And that households wait an average of 17 months and up to 3 years in some states to receive that housing assistance. Um, so I think there's some good data in here on what that churn looks like and who affordable housing programs are actually serving, despite what is in the imagination of some when they um, hear about affordable housing programs. The National Alliance to End Homelessness has also put out a pulse check surveying the field in uncertain times. I think for those of you who work on the homelessness end of the spectrum of the housing continuum, that is a report that is worth taking a look at. We're all trying to get a sense, especially with the COC NOFO, um, and that prevailing in litigation around it, and some of the policy shifts, attempted policy shifts at HUD, what they mean for folks that are trying to do work at that end of the continuum. It's important to check that out. A couple of other events to take note of. April 16th at 6 p.m. In the community room at the Jackson County Public Library, It's an author event and roundtable discussion on homelessness with Brian Barth, Chief Chris Hatton, and Paul Phillips. It is free and open to the public. There's an FDIC webinar on supporting disaster recovery in North Carolina, April 23rd at 10 a.m. Again, all these links are going to be in the call notes. Um, the UNC School of Government is doing an affordable housing seminar, tools, strategies, and case studies for local government leadership. That's May 7th in Marion, North Carolina. This is open to professionals and elected officials. Registration closes 1 week before the program, so the link to register is there, and the cost for the course is $270. And finally, CAHEC is having their 2026 Partners Conference June 9th and 10th at the Raleigh Convention Center. Registration ends May 22nd, so you can learn more and register in our call notes. So again, going back to the top, the big highlights for this week is the Property Tax Committee tomorrow, where we will likely see votes on amendments and final proposals in committee. And also there are three advocacy opportunities nationally that you can around HUD's proposed rule changes. So a reminder to take action on those, to make comments on the proposed rule changes with HUD. And then finally, looking forward to seeing everyone who registered at the Housing Day at the General Assembly in just a couple of weeks. I hope you are all having an incredible spring, enjoying the sunshine. Stay cool out there, and we will see you again next time.